Good morning, this is Indo World Cup Daily coming to you from Tours in France. We've decided just to slow the pace down a bit, Rory. Have a coffee.
Absolutely.
You're getting your second one on the way here now.
Much needed.
Much needed, much needed.
It's been a pretty nice week though. It hasn't been too stressful just yet.
Yeah, no, it has been a pretty good week. We're going to look at, besides Ireland's game, the other big games coming up this weekend. And boy, are there big games coming up this weekend, Rory.
Yeah, absolutely. With 2 days to go till the big kick-off. France against New Zealand at the Stade de France. I'm
You're going.
I'm going along.
Yes.
Yeah, getting the train up from here on Friday afternoon after going to the team announcement in Bordeaux. I'm a bit all over the place this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. Getting stuck into a big weekend of rugby. And France Argentina in 2007 was a big opening night.
It was, yeah.
But this is the biggest opening night we've ever had. Like South Africa, New Zealand 4 years ago was a great first weekend kind of centrepiece. But there's 3 or 4 huge games this weekend.
Oh, merci.
And we're so spoiled by the way this World Cup is just hitting the ground running. And with all the storylines going on around France, the fact that it's the All Blacks, the injuries they have, Scotland, South Africa coming on Sunday, we're going to see a lot of the big contenders get properly tested straight away. We've got England under pressure. I can't wait. It's like such a great weekend to kick things off here in France.
Yeah, what way do you reckon it is going to go? Because there has been a lot of controversy around the Ireland camp, as we discussed on yesterday's video. Are they going to be able to deal with the pressure, the French?
Like it is, I'm going to be writing about this later in the week. You think about Dupont and the amount of pressure he's already under as the kind of hometown hero, the Jonah Lomu of his era, the routinely being talked about. In the Telegraph picked their top 100 players, he was number one. Like he could be one of the greatest players of all time. He's going into home World Cup and suddenly around him players are falling off. Entomac's gone, Dante's gone, Baye is injured. Willemse, I know he's not the force he was, but he's still a big player for France when they needed him. And suddenly, more and more is coming onto his shoulders. This home World Cup, he's on my bag for life. He's on the front of GQ. He's everywhere here in France. And that has to affect him now. He seems to be quite a nonchalant figure, very confident, very comfortable in his own skin and well able to handle it all. But still, you wonder, as he stands in that tunnel about to leave this team out for a home World Cup, imagine how that feels. So that's a big factor in it. The All Blacks are coming in. They know they don't have to win. Both teams don't have to win, but France do for the fact that they're the hosts. I think it's massive. And then they've got this massive distraction with the Charleroi affair that's going on all week with Macron involved. It just shows how big this is for France, being caught off, being heard off mic, discussing this, we can't have controversy with Galtier. Just such a big story. I mean, Charleroi might not even feature too much for them. Like, why did they call up him of all people? They have loads of options and they've just invited this controversy on. So there's so many storylines going into it, but once the ball's kicked off, it's going to be an epic game. We saw South Africa and New Zealand, how good that was when two teams of that kind of top 4 or 5 go head to head. Bring it on. I can't wait. Let's
look at the other game as well in Ireland's pool on Sunday, South Africa against Scotland. There was kind of a lot of hope, in Scotland that they could do something, and they're almost kind of saying, "Oh, there's no pressure on us," kind of going into this game, which almost seems to build the pressure on them.
They don't seem to be afraid to talk themselves, but they never have done.
No.
Stuart Hogg is gone, but his spirit lives on. There's like the big talk. Like Scotland could, any of these 3 teams in this pool could go out. I mean, Scotland could easily beat South Africa and lose to Tonga. That's the way this pool it could unfold. My expectation is that South Africa will have too much power for them, too much out wide. But the Russell wide game plan and his ability to shift the ball could trouble the South African defence. I mean, they are really good in their rush defence. They did shut down New Zealand really well a couple of weeks ago. But Scotland have a lot of the tools. I'm going to that one as well. I'm getting the train down from Bordeaux on Sunday morning, getting the overnight train back to Paris afterwards. Like in Marseille in the heat should suit South Africa rather than Scotland. They did read that Scotland did their welcome ceremony outdoors and were out there for 3 hours. There was loads of speeches and it was a bit of a disaster yesterday. So there's a lot riding on it for both teams. I think Scotland will take a performance and maybe a bonus point and gear up for that game against Ireland. They've got 3 weeks or 4 weeks to build into that game. South Africa comes a bit more thick and fast for them. They've got Romania the following Sunday, but if they win it, they'll feel like they're in the quarterfinals already and they can do whatever they want against Ireland. So it's a hugely defining game for how our pool is going to go.
And let's look at 2 other big games as well. There are plenty, of course, but England against Fiji, England against Argentina on Saturday, and then of course Wales against Fiji as well on Sunday.
Yeah, big box office clashes. I mean, maybe Fiji-Wales when the draw was made didn't seem as much of a...
It does now.
It does now, and in 2007 Wales did lose to Fiji and get knocked out by them, and Fiji reached the quarter. So it's not like it's a new story, but Fiji look like they're the best prepared Fiji team we've ever seen, just beating England. They have a bit of expectation on their shoulders now. Gatland's come in really quietly. I mean, the stuff about their early training stuff when he was waterboarding the players and stuff looked really weird, but it seems like it's worked to some degree, and he's got a young team, a vibrant team, echoes of 11. They're one of the least predictable teams coming into this. They've had a bad cycle, but he's a very experienced coach. They've got good young players, maybe not the depth, and obviously they got hammered by South Africa coming into it. But that Wales, Fiji, Australia, and Georgia as well, that's a tricky pool to call. And then if England, Argentina, England on an absolute low point, an all-time low nearly coming in. But like 07 was like that as well. The parallels
they're trying to get that back, aren't they?
They are. And Owen Farrell addressed all his big issues yesterday. Danny Cipriani's thrown a few grenades into the mix for the Ireland camp as well.
Timely,
and I saw Owen Farrell saying Danny's trying to sell a few books yesterday, but that just adds to the pressure on Steve Bortman's shoulders. They need a win because Samoa are dangerous, because Japan, although not as strong as they used to be, Bortman used to coach them. He knows that they can be dangerous in World Cups as well. Like, if England win it, suddenly everything's back on an even keel. They're pretty much in the quarterfinals. If they lose, it's going to be one of the big stories here in France. And Ireland-Romania will be interesting from our point of view, but really that they're the 4 big games this weekend to look forward to, and there's non-stop entertainment from Friday night through to Sunday night.
Nice quiet weekend so for you.
Looking forward to it. I can't wait. You're not complaining one bit. Like, look at where we are. Look at we've got Ireland and Ireland flags and tricolours up in the background. Tour is looking forward to it, even though we're not rugby country.
Yes.
And what a weekend to be in France. I can't wait.
I know, it's going to be great. We are going to be back later today with a podcast. Myself, Rory, and Cian Tracy. So do keep an eye on your podcast streams for that one.